Hi guys, it's Molly and I'm so happy to be here with you guys today to do a little bit of a reading. Long time no see. In my last video, I did talk about the fact that I had been just sick off and on for several months actually. And so I got like one last really wicked bout of that just completely zapped all of my energy. I'm finally getting over it, you guys. It's been such an ordeal. And of course, you know me, I can't just go through a normal everyday human thing without giving it a tremendous amount of like meaning and significance. So I will say, I've been through, I want to say like probably a couple little ego deaths in the last several months. But I'm so happy to be here, you guys, today and channeling a message. I can't channel for you guys if I can't even maintain like my own baseline energy. So thank you guys for your patience with me. I don't know who we're hearing from today. I do have one card that has fallen onto the ground. They want me to show you this one as well. Is this the, oh, it's a feather, you guys. This is my, just kind of like generic message from spirit, like symbol from spirit that I see out in the world is this little white feather, and it does say guardian angel, which is funny because what I was going to say to you before I showed you the bottom of the deck was that before I pick up whatever is on the ground, I feel like it needs to get off the ground. But before I look at it, I would love for you guys to join me in a prayer if that's a thing that you guys are into. Simply because, like I said before, I couldn't do these readings if it weren't for my own guardian spirits that accompany me. So thank you so much, divine spirits of love and light, archangels, ancestors, allies, and guides. Thank you so much for bringing your energy into this space to help me deliver a message at this time. Thank you for your protection. I am so grateful to be able to channel these messages. Let's see what this is. Ooh, okay. You know what's funny, you guys? Okay, I understand what you're trying to do. I understand what you're trying to do, Spirit. Okay. So I got a haircut last week, and I'm not very happy with it. Like, she just went way too short in the back, but whatever. You gotta cope. You gotta move on. You gotta deal with bad haircuts. So I was trying to set up my like camera and everything, and I was like, oh my god, I just hate my hair. And I went and I put a little top knot on. Right? That's just my favorite way to keep it out of my face right now. I'm calling it like the sage knot now because that's what this card is. Be devoted and committed. All right. So that's kind of cool. I really feel like this is just Spirit's way of supporting me and acknowledging me. And because look, he's got this, the peacock feather, he's riding on a leaf. Like this is somebody who is in the field of communication. Okay. I am but a humble messenger, but look, I feel like Spirit is just like, that was Spirit's little shout out to me. Okay, all right, let's pull out Bianco Nero. Some of you guys have really had to remove yourself from an environment in which there are too many voices. And I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes that environment is just like, it's a social media app. It is any media outlet. It might be, people you used to hang out with and you were just like, yeah, we're all vibing. And then all of a sudden you start to look at what they're really saying and you had to get yourself out of that, okay? We have the Five of Swords reversed here on the bottom of the deck with the Seven of Swords. To me, this represents a moment in which you realize that you're kind of sabotaging your own success and you decide not to do that anymore, okay? And sometimes we got to go sit underneath a tree and do some journaling in order to really get back into, tapping back into ourselves, right? It's hard to go through an ego death when you are surrounded by things that are not you. I don't know how else to say it. When you're surrounded by things that you've identified previously with your ego rather than your higher self, right? So when you need to get in there and be like, well, who and what is this higher self? You've got to step away from some of the things in your environment that you might have used to define your own identity before that ego death comes about, okay? In fact, I was kind of thinking about this. I was like, man, it's so weird that like, you almost have to learn how to live again after every ego death that you go through. And when I say ego death, let me define that, okay? Ego death, and I remember I used these words, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last week, it's what happens when you say to yourself, I am not so attached to this version of myself that I can't let it go. So in other words, ego death is just an open-mindedness. It's an opening up. It's saying, you know what, I don't have to be set in stone. I don't have to be what I've been told I am. I don't have to be what I've tried to define myself as. These things outside of you are not you, right? So the ego death is just, I mean, it sounds so dramatic, right? But really all it is that moment when you say to yourself, I am not so desperately attached to this version of myself that I can't let it go in order to become the next one, okay? I don't feel like there is an end point. I don't feel like there is ever a point which you just, like, there's no state of enlightenment in which that process ends, okay? In fact, what it means to be in a state of enlightenment is to constantly be open to an ego death. Look at me being a sage, you guys. That's what that is. You know what I mean? Let's unpack this. Because this Seven of Swords is really, really talking to me. See how this guy's all like hooded and cloaked and shadowy? Okay. There's a lot of swords here. So what we're talking about today is just things that go on in the mind. Okay? This is this guy deciding that it's time to leave behind a situation that robbed his peace. Did you see that? He's got 4 swords that he's sneaking out of that tent with. Seven of Swords is an interesting card because, you know, I've got like 30 different decks over there. Now, I'd say maybe like 10 to 15 of them are actually tarot. So let's say I got 10 to 15 Seven of Swords over there. What's really important for me, at least the way the messages come through for me, is to pay attention to how the swords are divided up, because there's usually swords being carried and swords being left behind. In this particular Bianco Nero deck, this gentleman is trying to leave the tent with 4 swords, which is rest. It's his peace. I almost feel like this guy's whole vibe is I cannot get any rest. I can't get any peace here. I need to just go ahead and take my inner peace elsewhere. So leaving behind a situation and understanding that there might be a little bit of heartbreak there. There might be some people who don't understand. And I don't know that they're going to. This is somebody realizing, and I understand, it's hard. This is somebody realizing that sometimes protecting your peace, it's not going to feel good to other people. But guess what? Your job is not to make sure that other people feel good. I mean, obviously, we want to have a positive influence on people, right? But this is a situation where for far too long, you had to choose between my peace or possibly breaking a heart, okay? And when I say breaking a heart, it's not even like that was not your intention. It's just almost like what I'm getting here is it's a refusal to continue to walk on eggshells. Okay? Yeah. And then there's this guilt. for having left the situation. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys just a little bit of an anecdote. Okay, if you're a woman, I bet you can relate. And if you're not, this might, I don't know, it might be a perspective into what sometimes we as women have to do. Okay, so I moved into this new place, and my neighbor was just immediately overstepping boundaries. Don't come up to my door and ask, oh hey, can I borrow this? Can I borrow this? Can I borrow that? I just happened to be peeking in your kitchen window and I saw that you were there. No. So basically, my whole thing was like, I've got to use my voice with this person. I've got to set a boundary. And when that moment came to set that boundary, I was beating myself up because I was really kind of a bitch about it. But to tell you the truth, it's like, no, I had to sit down and have an intervention, and because I was feeling like this. Oh no, I protected my safety and security, like, and I didn't do it with, like, sugar on top. And I had to stop and just like get to the point where I was okay with the fact that I didn't state the boundary in the most polite way. But you know what? That boundary has stood. That boundary was heard. I had to do a little Three of Swords, right? I can't. Y'all, we gotta realize boundaries don't always come with the cherry on top. I think that's the message that wants to come out right now. We're learning to realize that stating a boundary is an investment. And look what we have here. Y'all, I can't. Okay, you guys. Okay, these are the cards. I almost said these are the swords that are on the table. Okay, we have a 7 swords, right? You try to like state your boundary, leave the cherry off the top, sneak out the back, and then you're worried about that. Okay, look, we've got, it's just another, there's a 5 of Swords here. There is a 7 of Pentacles, but then look what comes up. More swords. This is specifically the 7, I'm sorry, this is the 3 and the 4. Okay, so 3 and the 4. Boom, boom, boom. Remember? Holding on to 4 swords, leaving behind 3. Okay? What is this message all about? Look, if you stated a boundary in order to protect your peace, let your peace be protected now. Do you know what I mean? That's just the thing. Sometimes we have to state a boundary in order to protect our own peace of mind. So why not just enjoy your peace of mind, right? It's just about guilt. I feel like there's just a lot of, somebody spoke a boundary and now they're feeling a ton of guilt about having had to do that. That's really what I feel like this is talking about here. Let's go ahead. That all just happened right off the top of this deck. Let's shuffle up, because this 7 of Pentacles, to me, it really looks like, okay, that's interesting. All right. I've been binge watching Alone, which is, I think it was on History. You can go to History Channel, history.com, and see all of the episodes of Alone. But it's basically like this competition where they drop people out into the wilderness alone, okay? And I've been really into that, okay? I'm looking at like their shelter building and stuff like that. And for some reason, that's what this image is showing to me. And that makes sense because a shelter is a boundary. It is a protection. Whoo! I like the way this is coming out, all right? That's exactly what, okay, let's try that for a second. It's almost like take this situation of having to speak a boundary and imagine you're out in the wilderness. You're not going to feel bad if you're kind of rude to a bear in order to prevent it from eating you. Your peace is so powerful and so important. And I feel like for a lot of us, it's definitely for me, but for many of us, that's a journey that we've been on for a long time. Is, okay, I'm starting to build my shelter. I've got like some walls. But then you realize, oh man, there's some moisture, there's some wind coming into these walls. So what you got to do is you got to go and like fill in the spaces in between. Do you see that? They're just showing me almost like this was a wall with chinks in it, with holes in it. And so that you have to go like stuff in, right? Like when they go and they get the moss and they stuff it in between the logs and they reinforce their shelter. That's what that is, you guys. We all deserve a shelter. We all deserve that shelter. And sometimes we have to use our own words to build it. Okay? My nose is itchy. They're dancing. I sometimes feel like that's what they're doing. Like Spirit's just like tap dancing on my nose. They're like, now she'll get the message. Okay. Thank you guys once again for being here. I'm definitely open for taking personal readings. If you guys are interested, check out the link below. And here we have it, upright. The Four of Swords upright. Honey, get your peace. Get your peace and protect it. Like your life depends on it. Okay? And that's a realization that I made a long time ago. And for some reason it makes me want to kind of go back to like, there's basically this time in my life where I was like, holy smokes. Me with a good night's sleep is a completely different human being than me like on a crappy mattress or like, you know what I mean? There came this point in my life where I realized, holy cow, I have to actually start putting up boundaries against friends, against family, even my own like child, my own ideas of parenthood in order to protect my sleep, because I do become a crazy person. I become an unwell, unhealthy, unpleasant, unproductive person if I don't get consistent good night's sleep. I'm not talking about like I'm not like the princess and the pea. But I realized there's a point in my life where I realized, a good night's sleep is this thing that I need to put up boundaries around, because otherwise I'm not going to be in my best. I just can't function. I can't go out there and do the work that I need to do in the world. I can't be a positive impact on myself and others if I don't put up some boundaries. Okay? So, yeah. This is what happens in your boundaries, because look, you guys, this is you. Okay? There is, wow. Okay. How do I phrase that? Your own inner peace is a temple. When you get to this state of mind, you can communicate with the divine. You can receive messages from the divine. You can co-create your future with spirit, with the divine. Okay? Your peace of mind is a temple. And we really shouldn't feel guilty for wanting to protect it. We can't. It's like, pardon me, whoever's coming through is really, oh, thank you. Okay. All right. These are my dragon guardians. Okay. Pardon me while I get back to where I was at. These are my dragon guardians. And then look at that. Oh my God. Okay. Right? And it's funny because we got the Page of Pentacles. These are both Page of Pentacles energy. Okay, so now we have to talk about, okay, you guys, it's only 20 minutes in. They're giving me symbols here that relate very closely to the way, just kind of like the way that I've been communicating with spirit and interacting with spirit over the last week or two, okay? I started sleeping with my little pentagram protection piece. Like I started sleeping with it. Like it's gold, it's maybe like about this big. I just started sleeping with it. And I tell you what, I wake up in the morning and I know that I am protected. And it allows me to accomplish so much more in my day. Okay? And I feel like what they're showing is like, this is me crawling into bed with my little like pentacle. And then this is what's happening on the astral, is I can walk through that plane assisted. I've got, look, here's my dragon guide. Okay? Because it's just like, I don't know. There's something about, I talk a lot. I encounter a lot of people in readings that one of the issues that comes up around having boundaries, about prioritizing self-protection, is that we grew up in an environment where that was not allowed. Boundaries were not respected. They definitely weren't modeled. And just this idea, it's almost like I'm getting like the pushback, like the mental pushback. Like for some of you, there's this little voice that's like, but who am I that deserves to be protected in this way? Child, if you knew, you are a child of the universe. You are a seed of the stars. You are a beam of light in this world, and that deserves to be protected. Period. Period. And I really feel like that's the message that wants to come through. I will pull one last oracle card from my Starseed Oracle. For some of us, this is a really big, how do I say this? Oh, we've got the death card in the world. And then the devil. Let's talk to these real quick with the Three of Wands. Yeah, for some of you guys, this is literally a cycle that you've been through again and again and again. And just the lesson to learn is it's okay, it's imperative. It's necessary to protect your own peace. Energetic protection is huge right now. And I feel like what the message wants to come through, just like the main message that wants to come through, is you don't feel guilty about that. Do not. Do not. It's not, self-protection is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It is a necessity. Okay? But these are three powerful cards. Okay? Death card reverse, the World card, and the Devil. This is probably some sort of karmic cycle, okay? And let's go, okay. So I talked, was it here? I don't know if it was here or over on TikTok. I think over on TikTok I've talked several times about this. Oh my God, and that's the same woman. Okay, hold on a second. About this, give me a second, you guys. Okay, sorry about that. Basically over on TikTok, I've been talking about how, like, a big part of this ascension is the fact that there are many of us who, most of us, I mean, this is the ideal progression of spiritual evolution on Earth, is that there's a bunch of us who wrap up our own individual karma in order to be able, in order to be able to begin to essentially tackle planetary karma, collective karma, right? That makes sense. And I feel like the main lesson here is about spiritual energetic sovereignty, okay? This is a cycle that we have many of us, if you're watching this and it's resonating, Perhaps it's worth entertaining the notion that you are a way shower to the collective. Yeah, that's a big shift right there in our perspective, isn't it? Maybe we don't need to be feeling guilty about creating boundaries because we came here to teach people how to do that. Right? That's just what this feels like to me. Okay? And the reason, I don't know why, but it's like, look at this. She has wrapped up this cycle. This is the world, right? The same figure, right? Look, is tied to this devil character in the next card. Meaning, it's almost like a bodhisattva type energy. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing that word, but I remember when I learned that word in world religion, sage, I was like, I just had this weird like click, like, yo, that's what I came to do. Like I had this sense that I had reached a bodhisattva, or bodhisattva, I don't know the proper way to pronounce it, is somebody that in the, is it Buddhism? Basically has conquered their own personal karmic cycles and just comes back to lead others. I think that's what this whole message has been trying to say to us, is if you're resonating with this message, you have come to serve as a bodhisattva, however you say it, for creating boundaries. Right? Because it's almost like we do it and we learn how to do that and then we're like, oh wait, but now society's mad at me. You know what? Society is getting changed. The collective karma is going to first be carried, I don't know how else to say it, by those of us who are wrapping up our own individual karma. Okay? All those ego deaths are not for nothing. Nah. So, how do we lead the planet Earth through an ego death? How do we lead the planet Earth? How do we lead the collective through a process in which they can say, and like the collective can say, I'm not so connected to this version of humanity that we can't just let it go and create a new one. Let's go to the Starseed Oracle. Is that you? Inner Earth, you'll survive this. New solutions and beginnings. New solutions and beginnings. Okay? Inner Earth is important, of course, because our guides, and then we got weight of the world on the bottom. Boundaries, let it go, it's not yours to carry. Let me show you that. Weight of the world. Okay? In this, it is sort of some of us, that's what we came to do. We came to wrap up our own individual karma so that we could kind of begin to unpack and deal with the collective karma of the planet Earth. And our friends in the inner Earth, the ones that I refer to as the intraterrestrials, right? Like maybe they came from other planets, but they've been here on this one for so long that they are Earth beings, right? They are intraterrestrials. Dragon energy is just one of those. They're just one of those, okay? Guides that can walk us through this process. And in fact, if we look at that world card, do you see how she's surrounded by these other beings? Yeah, those are our protectors. Those are our guides that have walked us through the process that we need to close out these major karmic cycles so that we can begin to help the planet do the same, all right? And for some reason, it's like step one is practicing energetic sovereignty, understanding that you should feel empowered and emboldened. And what's the other word that it's not a good word, it's not a word that we typically like, entitled. You are entitled to energetic sovereignty, okay? So claim it, new beginnings and solutions. Okay? I'm not going to say I know exactly what that means, but step one, don't feel bad for saying no and not putting a cherry on top. Okay, my loves? Thanks for being here with me today. I hope to see you back again on my channel soon. Take care.